It is Sunday today. I know what day it is. Although I honestly, the days don't the days don't really mean that much. I guess I don't have a job, so I don't have a regular job, and days of the week it depends on what my partner wants. So I can remember that it's Monday if we have to go to town. Otherwise, it's just another day in the Mojave Desert. Today, I had just the most well, it wasn't I can't say it was really totally enjoyable. It was a difficult day. Hey, Benjamin. I framed most of the second floor, at least in the back of the Earthship, and put a piece of plywood up there. We did some, and we moved our scaffold around. We took it down at the end of the day, but framing is not my easiest thing to do, but it took us a while because I wanted to support everything in the right way, and I still have issues that need to be addressed, but we're moving along. And I at one point in the day, I just thought to myself, I I got up this morning and I watered my garden. The radishes are doing well. The blueberries, two blueberry bushes responded very well to watering. They were very appreciative because I've been relying on the gray water, which is underneath the ground. You can't really really see it, but the plants needed some top water. And now that I have a 1,000-gallon storage tank right across from the garden, it's just so wonderful that all these things through the last couple through the year and a half that we've been up here, all these things just sort of unfolded in a beautiful way. Not quickly, but I mean, yes, quickly. It's only been a year and a half, and we already have a well, and we're just. I thought to myself, if I had to imagine heaven, this would be it. The only difference would be that, like, my father would be around, to annoy me, and my son would be closer, and there'd be maybe more people. But other than that, I'm just so happy that I have a place where I can really express myself. And I was thinking that one of the main ways, when I told this story a few episodes ago, but when I was maybe 3 or 4 ish, I got a hold of a package of corn, like corn seeds, and I started to plant corn all over my father's, suburban. We lived in suburbia. And my father was like, "What's this plant that keeps growing up in my garden?" My father was a big gardener. He loved to garden. And I'm thinking to myself, I did that when I was a little boy, and now I'm doing it now. And it's so much fun. It's like when we have a piece of fruit that's really good, I'll take the seeds and put them in the garden, and just with the hopes that if it's meant to be, it'll come up. And this is just the kind of life that really it just seems at this point in my life, it just feels great. It just feels great to be up here, to be able to do it, to have a little bit of wood to work with. I'm actually my lumber pile, which I thought was colossal and never ending. I'm really going through wood like crazy. I'm like, well, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this was a huge pile. Now it's a house. It's becoming a house, and it's really exciting. So I hope that everyone is really enjoying this period of time. Am I supposed to be tired? I can't keep it straight. I don't. Oh, I'm sorry if it's too late. If it's late, I don't know where are you, Mommy Wolverine? I don't know where you are. You on the East Coast, or somehow Mommy Wolverine doesn't sound like an East Coast sort of name, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm sorry that it's late. I'm trying to figure out the timing on this. I really don't know what to do because when it's daylight, we basically are working. We just we're becoming like we're becoming farmers. I mean, it's so wonderful. I never thought of that. Well, yeah, a couple of like maybe a year ago when I was here, somebody said to me something to the effect of, "Well, you may be a very successful farmer," and I just never thought of it that way. But we are kind of developing a sort of a living situation that's really pleasant. And the season is long. The growing season is very long here. So the radishes are just springing out of the ground now. And I'm very tempted to put in my tomato seeds. I'm going to grow everything from seed this year. There's no, I'm not going to the store to buy little potted tomato. It's just I'm not in. I just there's no reason to do that anymore. I have a beautiful garden, and I just put some seeds down. I've grown tomatoes from seeds before, but the season is so long. You lost. I we was lost listening to music, and so you were on. Thanks, Kenzo. I I meant because of daylight savings time. Right. Oh, right. Because this is the night when everything changes. So we'll be 3 hours behind, right? Yeah, behind New York. And it makes it's a very difficult period time for me because it's hard to think of calling my mother. And it's, even though she stays up to 11 most nights, I don't like to call her so late. But let's see that. So if it's seven, yeah, I'm a math teacher who can't count anymore. But yeah, 11, 10, 9. Yeah, so it just the days here are so sweet. The daylight is so sweet here. It doesn't get light until like what is it, like 7 o'clock in the morning? It doesn't get light right away. It's But so you want to use, we want to use as much of the time as we can. There's so much to do up here. We're really developing a little bit of a kind of a farm with the garden growing and the tanks. And now I framed out the second floor, and I really seriously had the thought, like, maybe I died and I'm in heaven now. I really thought that. I was just thinking, like, this is just this is just so nice. And I just hope that everyone else is not being distracted by what do they call it, they call it a not an illusion, but the word they use for it's a whatever. So there's been a lot of talk. It's 11:20 in the East Coast now. Yeah,
Mhm.
it is
Yeah.
already. You mean daylight savings time was on Saturday?
No, Sunday.
Isn't today Sunday?
Yeah.
But doesn't it change at midnight? Anyway, okay, I'm ahead of myself. But yeah, I was in a store today that sells sponges from the Gulf, or the woman there was saying you can grow herbs inside sponges without soil, just water. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I was very big into hydroponics when I lived in the city, Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, it's It's the Gulf of America now, right? The Gulf of America. But uh hello, Ellie. We're doing. I hope you're doing good. I bet it's warming up there. Yeah, today was. Hey, Jenny. It was so warm today. I actually I wasn't moving as well as I did when it was colder. Changed last night. Changes on Saturday night. 3 hours is a difficult gap to call on the East Coast. Okay, so I'm trying to think of ways around this because it's just we don't even we eat around 4 and then we go back to work, and we work until it gets dark, and then I should try to, like, but then it's going to get darker later and later. I'll try to figure something out, a way to I don't know, maybe people just have to watch it on the rebound. But yeah, it's so much is happening in the simulation. That's the word I'm looking for. Simulation. They say life is a simulation, like the Truman Show. It's a simulation. Now, I've been toying, I've been trying to wrap my brains around this concept, and I can't say that I really totally understand what they mean by that. Brian Bessie has a new Kenyan, organic Peru, which I'm what do we is this what I'm drinking? No? Okay, but I think we're getting or Brian got has a new type of coffee bean called organic Peru. Simulation. I wanted to spend a broadcast kind of thinking about this concept. I love calling from the car on the way home. Yeah, it's good for me as I listen to go to sleep. A lot of people like to listen to me when they go to sleep, which is fine. It's wonderful. I'm listen. I'm happy to whatever happen. Wherever this goes, I'm okay with it. So it's going to be warm here in Northern California in the 80s here. Yeah, it would. Let's see, because our weather doesn't your weather come our way? When I was on the East Coast, the weather came from the West. I don't know, but yesterday the wind was ferocious, and I couldn't really get much. I got a lot done, but I could only work inside the Earthship. I couldn't really work outside. Things were just the wind was so passionate yesterday, but today it was just warm and it was just so pleasant. Watering my garden with a hose. I mean, it was so much fun. I know Danielle is gonna take over because she likes to water the plants, but it was just such a delight. All I had to do, I bought a 50-foot hose, and it almost it reached perfectly across the road to my garden. From the water tank to the garden is about 50 feet. Everything out here is big, like walking from the water tank to the house to the well, you're talking 50, 100 feet every time. The lumber pile is a good 100 feet or 100 yards, or it's far. It's not like, when I was working in Brooklyn where, everything was like this. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful that this is where this adventure took us. And I just hope that in terms of the simulation, the idea of simulation, and I partake of the simulation. I'm not saying that I live in the real world and you don't. I don't say that at all, because we spend a tremendous amount of our time going back and forth from looking at X to living in nature. I yeah, years ago, I read that advanced civilizations live very simple lives, but they have technology. And I thought that's really the future of mankind. So many things are happening in the simul. Is it a simul? Yeah, I guess you would call it a simulation because it's it changes. It's not solid. It's not like the dirt and rock in Arizona. I mean, that's like pretty much, it doesn't change that much over from yesterday to today. But the simulation, meaning the information that is coming out is it's bad here. It's gonna be warm here. It's bad. You mean it's too hot? Who was ready for a $19 gallon gas? Okay, yeah, to forget about that stuff, man. I mean, that's part of the simulation. I mean, okay, no, don't forget about it. No, I'm not saying I'm not. I don't want to downplay it, Kipley News Stewart, Kipley 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 and Stewart. Yeah, I don't want to downplay it, but I'm not going into the fear space. I like there's all kinds of people that are telling me that the stable coin, they're going to control you. I don't believe that. They're not going to control me. And unless you're in the simulation completely, like I said, I go in and out of the simulation. I read, I go onto X, and I sometimes marvel at the things I'm reading, but usually it's just like it's very expected. Isn't there no huge surprises? I mean, I'm expecting gasoline to go to 28 cents. That's my expectation, that when GESARA is activated and when we get our funds and when the birth certificate money and all the taxes that they charged us is returned to us, and gasoline's like 28 cents, the prices are supposed to return to 1955. And I just remember like I said, I always say this, my father said I was probably about 5 years old. I remember being at the gas station in Heathcote, right? Scarsdale. And my father going, I can't believe gas is up to 28 cents. I, I don't know why it's stuck in my mind, but I'll always remember him saying that. And it was close enough to 1955. Probably 1955, it was a few pennies cheaper. I was born in 1955. But that's, according to GESARA, what we've heard about GESARA, the prices are going back to that. Now, are these things going to wobble? No, I don't think so. I think the White Hats are this is a controlled demolition. I'm not seeing, I mean, there are all these people out there. And if you want to get into that mindset, so be it. You need to go there. You want to freak out. You want to be, like it's all going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, that's a way of looking at life, but you don't have to. I'm living in heaven. I'm living I'm living in nature. I'm living it the way I always wanted to live, and I finally achieved it. So while I go and I look at X, but I don't generally, when things are like blackpilling, like, oh no, the Iran thing is gonna, like, the CIA came on. He says Trump doesn't know what he's doing. It's like he knows exactly what he's doing. You assholes in the CIA never knew. I know him because my brother's CIA. You assholes live in a different world. I don't choose that world. So there's so many different worlds. There are infinite number of worlds within this world, and you can choose whichever one you want to live in. That's my personal opinion. I choose to live. Now, we came up here. I didn't think to myself, wow, in a year and a half from now, I'm going to have my own well. I'm going to have a big garden that's fenced off with raw lumber, which is what I've always dreamed of having a garden fenced off by raw lumber, that my house would be partially finished to some degree. I mean, we're finishing the second floor. I'm just shy a little bit of framing. I have to do a little more framing. Danielle is looking forward to having a second floor over the bathroom, so that when it rains, I mean, now, we're happy to have a toilet on the inside of the Earthship. This is new to us. That took a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of investment and investing time. Get a horse and a goat. Yeah, I think we probably will. JFK said we're going back to the 50s prices. Yeah, so that's what I'm expecting. 28 cents. I mean, you know, the older I get, the more I just want to hang out with my dad again. I want to be with dad. I just remember when I was 3 years old, walking down the street with my dad saying, and I said to him, Dad, what's going to happen to me when you die? And he goes, as long as you're alive, I'm not dead. How did he say that? I mean, that's something that's in the Old Testament. Jacob says, as long as my offspring are alive, I'm alive too. What does that exactly mean? I don't know. Having outdoor shower is awesome, right? You can see the stars, right? Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, we are very privileged and blessed to have star shows every night, and the moon shines through our window very brightly. at night. I mean, it's almost, we talked about the two sun thing, a horse and a goat. Yeah, from uh, Pahrump, Nevada. Nice. Funds from the 12th day of lockdown. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't go, but you may think that that's going to be. By the way, the chaos with Iran already happened. We were watching a movie. Yeah, I don't doubt that. This footage is being played back to the people. I don't that that's what I'm saying. It's a simulation. Is it happening in real time? I have no idea. All I know is the information we get. That's a simulation. It's not. There's no way to verify any of it. None of it. Do we really know that Donald J. Trump is really Donald J. Trump, or is it a bunch of actors? I don't know. But it's a simulation. I would love to. Uh, I would love to Kipling. Kipling. Not sure what that means, but um, yeah, it could be, but who cares? I mean, it doesn't. Whether it happened yesterday or last year, or 5 years ago, or any of any and all of these things. To us, it's a simulation. Outdoor shower, yeah, I like the idea. I mean, we actually have an outdoor shower. We have an outdoor shower. Did you know that?
Yeah, I don't want to use
She doesn't want to use it. We have a kind. It's almost like an outdoor shower here, even though it's inside our RV. We don't have a toilet in the RV. I ripped out the toilet right away as soon as I got the RV. I said I don't want a toilet in my house. I don't want it. So that's one thing. Land is gold. Yeah, land is gold. Yeah, live off grid. Live off grid was mentioned. I like it, man. I mean, I love it. I look forward to better technology than solar panels. I saw a thing today with magnets and copper wire. They were saying you don't need a power source. You can just get electricity right from the air, right from magnets. So I won't have to wire. I'm thinking of, like, this would be a challenge for me to wire the inside of the house. I mean, the wiring in the RV is already up, but I could do it if I had to. Yeah, live off grid was mentioned. I love it up here. It's just it's quiet. The stars at night. If I ever get, feeling like I miss civilization, I can look off in the distance. About 10 miles from here is I-40. So I can watch all the little lights going 10 miles away. I thought when I bought the property, I was worried that I would hear the sound of the highway from 10 miles. I didn't know. But no, I don't hear a thing. I don't hear a thing from the highway. We do hear, we hear jets, we hear, planes and stuff sometimes. I miss my dad. Yeah, me too. He was baby seated in 1920. He was baby seated in my 1925 picture. They killed him with a flu shot in 2024. Yeah, they killed my dad too with medicine. These people are it's horrendous. Free water and free electricity would make so much. Yeah, so I have that. I have. Well, I still have to pay for my well. I'm in debt big time, but I pay a little bit each month. So far, no complaints. No, they would like me to pay it all off, and I thought I was going to be able to. I thought for sure XRP would be at the moon right now, but yeah, it's real nice, man. I mean, I don't have to pay, bills. I don't have any I don't have any bills. I do pay, I do have some bill. I have some commitments that I made that I pay off, but it's minimal. And Danielle and I are really just so closely aligned. I don't hide it. I don't like, well, that's my bank account. It's just like we have when we have money, we have money. When we don't have money, we don't have money. But I think I don't think that I think that people can outside if you're totally involved in the simulation, if you're totally involved in what's really going on, but both well, the normies, ignorance is bliss. But the people are waking up. There are all these protests against cannibalism that are happening now. Yeah, land is gold. I think so. The stars at night shine so bright deep in the heart of Texas. I'll bet. Is that a song or is that it just sounds beautiful? Did you bring some of your mom's art to the mountain here? I actually do have a fair collection of my mother's artwork in my shed. I haven't been able to hang any of it up, but maybe as we start to get a roof and a dry place to live, I'll be able to hang up some of my mom's paintings. XRP is going to take a while to go up. Yeah, it could take a while. And it could happen tomorrow. We just don't know. I mean, I've been waiting for my XRP to go up for years, thinking that how could it not go up? But we weren't really ready. I mean, silver just went off when it went off, and it'll probably go way higher and all that good stuff. But all right, so let's go. Let me share a bit of the thought stream. Just say a prayer. Yeah. XRP, just yeah. My father's in the hospital, brought him there yesterday morning. I hope they don't do any of that, but I'm dealing with this. Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I know it's so hard with the older folks because they believe in hospitals and they believe the doctors are good guys. They don't know. I mean, I deal with my mother on these things. She's pretty good generally, but she does listen to the doctors and she'll get her flu shot every year. And I'm just like, Mom, what are you doing? But I can't, I can't fight her. The stars. That's our free bird. Yeah. Yeah. Sandra's amazing. Um, and yeah. So what do you guys think about this? What do you think about the idea of simulation? Meaning, and I wanted to call tonight's video "I hate Facebook" because I hate Facebook. I never go on Facebook because I don't know. I can't explain it, but I recently contacted a friend, an old friend that I saw on Facebook, and we spent an hour on the phone together, and it was quite lovely to reminisce a bit and to talk about where we were and where we are now. And in that respect, it's beautiful to have this kind of resource, but generally I don't really want to know. I don't really want to know. On like, personal. There are some people I'd like to fake book. Yeah. Thanks, Sandra. Um, how are the chemtrails? I haven't seen any chemtrails for the last couple of days. Knock wood. I have not seen.
Yeah, there was
There was that one.
forming one.
That you mean that one contrail?
No, the one that stayed in the sky.
Oh, there was one. Okay, so Danielle is very hip to this, but generally I haven't seen. This is water. I have my Brian's cup. And getting to drink water that I know is not fluoridated. It may have other I don't know what's in the water. I mean, but it just tastes so good. It comes, interestingly enough. I don't know if it's because it goes through the pump, but it doesn't come out freezing cold. It comes out sort of warmish, which is interesting. Facebook is for pussies and soccer moms. Yeah, I think so. Oh, so that on Facebook, yeah. Yeah, but the chemtrails have been better, I will say. I go on Facebook, anti-CPS, anti-vaccine, anti-circumcision. Okay, cool, man. Eureka, California. Interesting. Interesting. PST. Yes. So what do you guys think of this idea of that we live? Are they talking about us when they say you live in a simulation? Because I think that that people on this channel live in both worlds. I think I spend enough time in the it is a simulation, like our friend said. I don't know when the Iran thing, if it happened 5 years ago or yesterday or it's next week. Is it a simulation? Is this whole thing a simulation? How much of it is a movie? How much of it is spontaneous? Is Jamie Raskin a real is he for real? Is Jamie Raskin, I mean, these kinds of questions. I think Jamie Raskin's probably a reptile. I don't know. He's saying, "Oh, Frazzle Drip's just made up he's I just saw this thing was he was talking to the head of Google, this a criminal organization, Google, and saying, can't you eliminate this fake information?" I'm like, enough people have seen films and it doesn't so how do we judge whether or not Hillary really ripped the face off that girl and ate her? How do we how do we but knowing what we have put together, what we vibe with in terms of knowing Hillary, it's not out of the question. A person who says, "What difference does it make about the uh, the attack on Libya? What difference does it make? A few people die. What's the big deal?" And Jamie Raskin. I mean, these are these are cartoon characters. We know that Hillary was killed years ago. We know that now they're coming out and saying that everything signed by the auto pen will be removed. Is that really happening? I don't know. Does it matter? Now I'm saying it sound like Hillary, right? What difference does it make? Right? Um, Chemtrails all over Texas Panhandle 4 days ago. Chris everywhere. Then a day later, storms blew up Texas to Michigan. Right? Yeah, they always precede the storms. Michigan, a heavy fog for 2 days and a tornado. That was recorded on Wiener's laptop. Lots saw it. Right, exactly. But Jamie Raskin says it's made up. It's fake news. Well, Jamie Raskin probably has a Facebook page. He probably goes on Facebook all the time too. Yes, Texas is constantly being sprayed. Creepazoids. It's still today. You had chemtrails? Yes, indeed. I believe so. Yeah. Michigan had heavy fog. Yes, Texas. So so do we live in a simulation? What do you guys think? How do you feel about that? So sick of all that epi stuff. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Yeah, it's disgusting, but we need to see it. I think it's important. This is really the unifying point. I mean, that's what Q said, is that the child aspect of this 80% we're watching a movie, right? 80%. So do you believe that 20% of the time you live in the real world? Do you guys like go in and out? Like I know I do. I know exactly, like Danielle is like, get, put your phone down. She knows. If it's a simulation, it's a really good one. But it is a simulation. It is like the Truman Show. We are watching a movie, I think. I mean, that's how it seems to me. The question is, can we switch in and out of the simulation? And I think it's important to be able to do that. I mean, I find I'm just listen. I couldn't wait to leave the city. I could not wait to get on the land. I didn't even know this is what I was where I was heading. We create our own reality with our thoughts. I believe that also. I believe that. So the question is, how much of our reality are we allowing the creepazoids, like with the chemtrails? When I see the chemtrails, I lose it. I'm just like, I want to kill somebody. I want to get a heat-seeking missile and blow those airplanes out of the sky. No, I mean, I don't know if I can say that on the air, but I don't have a heat-seeking missile. If I had one, if I had a Stinger missile, would I try to blow up the airplane that's putting chemtrails in the sky? Earth is the center of the universe, completely real, but real in like I think for Nancy, your world is completely real because you're involved in the republic in forwarding the dimensional aspects of goodness in this realm. The Mandela effect lately, right? I think there are energies that impact us and knowledge we sense from around us. These things make the world feel unreal, but I think it's overall real. I've been experiencing the Mandela effect, right? Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, in terms of like the Truman Show, I think when we live in the simulation, actually live within the confines of the matrix. When we live in the city, we live in an apartment, we watch the news, we watch, or we get on X, we watch movies, we give our lives over to outside forces to some degree. But perhaps the wonderful part, and this is where I think we're going as a civilization, and I want to move back for a moment to Tartaria. I want to circle back to that. It just flashed into my mind. But I think that a lot of the joy of reality, okay, of the existence that we're involved with, involves going from one, we're multidimensional, from one dimension to another. Now, what does that mean? It means, I think, for me, it means in 1 minute I could be thinking, wow, I really miss this person. I really love this person. I hope they're okay. Or I could be thinking, you know, wonder what's going on in Afghanistan right now. Or I could be thinking, gee, we Danielle and I watched this show, the Magus. Did I say it right?
No, the Magus.
The Magus. The Magus. We watched it. I read the book twice because I love that book. I thought it was very intriguing. I don't remember how old I was when I read it, but I think it was a required reading thing that I just really loved. Like I love, and I wasn't required reading, but I love Ayn Rand. I love Tolkien. I love Herman Hesse. There are a lot of authors that I really love. But so we could read a book, we could read an article, we could look at the sunset. We're able to shift our focus from in many different dimensional realms without leaving the body. Whereas they say reptiles can't do that. I was all hot-headed about the reptiles yesterday, but now I just, I'm not thinking about them today. I'm thinking about the idea of like the Truman Show and the idea of a simulation, that we live within a simulation, but we're able to shift our focus in and I think that's what's meant by being that we're multidimensional, that we're not just like uni focused, like AI is just, it just keeps going it focuses, I think. We can go into many different corridors of reality and feelings. You could feel something, you could visualize something, you can think about something. This is kind of multidimensional, but I love it. I mean, I remember hearing somebody say, or had the thought that the reason people take drugs is because they want to go from, they like the transition from one world to the next. But I no longer like covet. I no longer want, like when I was younger, I would listen to these tapes for astral projection and, meeting, like I took a lot of hallucinogens, and the thought of going into other worlds was very appealing to me. It's not anymore. I will never, I'm never, I don't think I would ever take a drug again. I don't want to. I just don't need to, because I'm, I feel like Bilbo at the end of his day, like in his later years, just like it's all good, man. I mean, what wasn't it? Bilbo went off with the elves at the end and went into, y- it's just like that. I could see that happening, but I'm just, I don't know. I'm vibing out on the wonder of it all. 90% of people are angels. Yeah, but Nancy, that's because you're an angel. You only see what you are. You're literally an angel, so you only see angels. A lot of people see very demonic things in people. Is not existing. LLL 111 is not existing. Ha ha ha. I'm not sure what you're saying. I grew up believing in science, but that was a deliberate lie. The fact our prayers are answered and our prayers are manifesting does mean it's a simulation. It does mean we were lied to. It doesn't mean it's a simulation. It just means we were lied to. But I'm not saying a simulation necessarily in a negative sense. I'm just saying that when I go to X, I'm not living in, I go into another world. It's a simulation. It's not real. I'm looking at ideas on a page. I'm looking at words and videos. I'm not looking at like what I consider real, which is the weather outside is very real to me. When it's windy, it, it makes me feel different than when it's calm. When the wind is calm. I went camping outside in my yard last night. Beautiful stars and moonlight shining. That's wonderful, Sandra. Yeah, I mean it's. I've been camping for a year and a half. We're basically camped out here. We have an RV, but it's not a tent, but it's a little bit nice. It's a lot nicer than a tent. But we can make a tent work also. But when I first came out here, I thought, oh, you can't live in a tent because all the wild animals. Well, we saw our first, like we see chipmunks on occasion. It's like, you know, they're absolutely wild. There's, I mean, if they get into the house, and they did get into the house recently, they took a bite out of one of my apples, which is a little troubling. But that's because the door came on, the door opened while we were gone. It's just life. That's the way it is, and we are just figuring it out. I think so, Ralph. I think that Rafa. I think that's a good word. We're just figuring it out. I think that's really it. We're waking up as a species, and that's probably what Q is always talking about, waking up. Do we believe that Trump is getting rid of all the Illuminati and their worldwide infrastructure, which will usher in the golden age, or is Trump just another? No, I definitely believe. I totally believe that Trump is gonna. No, I don't. I don't think he's another Illuminati. I don't think that at all. I don't know if Trump is real in that sense. Like, is that really Donald J. Trump? I have no idea. It doesn't matter to me. But we're passing through multiple dimensions. Yeah. I love a do-over with my childhood years and friendships. Yeah, and you can do that. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. It's never too late to have a romance. It's never too late to plant a cherry tree. This is my first cherry tree that I planted. I planted a cherry tree. I'm very excited about it. And a bunch of other things. I love gardening. I mean, my father loved gardening. If my father was here, he would be like, wow, man, you finally got it together, because the sunshine here is intense. So you can grow if you observe. Like, I'm like, you're right about science was all a lie. It was a lie. But the scientific method, I still like think it that way. I think to myself, are they getting too much sun? Are they getting too much water? Is this, I'm constantly will, is when I lived in Brooklyn, I was like, well, the building over here is going to block out the sun in the afternoon, so this plant will not do as well. But here I'm just like, I got 170 acres of sunshine. There's no shade anywhere on my land. Certain times of day, if you're on a certain hillside, you would experience some shade. But generally, so for a gardener, it's, even though the soil, it needs, well, also wherever you live, the soil has to be played with. You have to work the soil to make it fertile. Once XRP moons, Ellie can have us all out to your place for a feast. Right. Well, I'm hoping, I suspect that people might come here, like, kind of slowly as we evolve here and we get more space. And I'm already, she has been wanting to build, after this house, she wants to build another house like next door, because we have like two openings for the septic tanks, so we could have a bathroom and another. But I'd like to build a little guest villa over there with a bathroom and a little kitchen, and just have a place where guests could have their own little house. Q said there are good actors and bad actors, all here to wake up the trusting. I hesitate to condemn anyone because they are all central casting. Yeah, I also, well, condemning people in general is not a very, except for maybe Jamie Raskin. We can all condemn him, but other than Jamie Raskin and no, I mean, these people are, but it's a simulation, because we don't know who's really in Gitmo, who's been executed already. Certainly Joe Biden, we knew that was a guy with a mask. There was nobody in this community on this channel that thought Joe Biden was, still alive. And, nobody in on this channel, in my opinion, would thought that. Party on barbecue vibes. Yeah. Yeah, well, we eat a lot of we eat we're carnivore. We eat a carnivore diet. We eat fruit in the morning, steak or chicken in around 4ish, and then we have like a health salad. That's what we've been doing lately. And sometimes we'll stop to have some eggs. Like this morning, I asked Daniela to make me a couple eggs after we had our fruit salad, because I needed some protein to keep working. Joe Biden was played by Jim Carrey and others. Yeah, yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, but nobody here. I mean, there might be people now coming to. How many people we have? 169. It happened to me a couple. I forget when it happened, but at one point, what, for a couple nights, I was getting like thousands of people on the live show. I don't know what happened with that, but people probably people don't have time for this. This is kind of an introspective thing that not everyone is ready to relate to. Check out the moringa tree, right? You can eat every part and very nutritious. I do have to. I did mean to check that out. Yeah, we're going slowly. I mean, I have my 6 trees now. I added 2 blueberry bushes. I'm constantly sticking seeds in the soil. I just planted. This is a weird story. When I see a garlic that's budding that has a green spout to it, a green sprout, I'll put it in the soil. No matter when, I think you're supposed to plant in the fall, but so I went out yesterday and I planted one of these garlics. And then today I found another garlic that had a green sprout. And I said, I'm going to go plant it. I said, I want to plant it next to the other garlic, but I can't remember. My garden is quite big. I can't remember where I put it. And I went to plant the other garlic, and lo and behold, I went to the same exact spot as I planted last night without being consciously aware that I had no idea where I had planted it. I just like, let's just but I put it by the blueberry bush. People need a voice. You're providing that. I think so. And maybe that's what I thought about Jim Carrey. Yeah. Grow it all. Yeah, exactly. I want to have nut trees. I'm trying to get some avocado to sprout. I want to try avocado. I want to have because we get a couple of cold days in the winter. Actually, so they do in Florida also. But the wind, I think the wind people don't generally grow citrus in this part of Arizona. They do in Phoenix. But I want to grow citrus trees. I want to go nut trees. I want to, gardening is my thing. And then, you know, we might have a friend visiting. They might like to do something with chickens, and we're just going to slowly grow our farm. We're growing a farm, and then maybe we'll have some, whatever. It's just piece by piece. I don't want to go too fast. I don't want to be overwhelmed by having to take care of a zillion different animals. I'm not. I when I was younger, I was very into animals. I grew up next to I grew really next door to a menagerie. I grew up next my neighbors when I was very young, not very young, when I was between the ages of maybe I was already 8 to, let's say, whatever. In my early days, my parents built a house in Scarsdale, in a certain section of Scarsdale that was still wild before everything was all developments. And we lived next to people who own the Catskill Game Farm. So they lived on like a 7-acre estate that was full of springs and ponds. And so they kept all these animals next door, and they would come visit us with llamas and pigs and all kinds of weird things came into our house from our next door neighbors. We lived at the end of a dead end street, and on the other end of the dead end was a 7-acre. It wasn't an estate like with big pillars or anything. It was just basically ponds and woods and fenced in horses and bulls and weird things. But anyway, that it's a whole long story. But there were 2 daughters in this family, and they would come and visit us all the time with animals. They would come up to our house with a pony and this kind of things. And this is how when I grew up, this was my youth. So maybe I feel more comfortable being in that kind of environment, certainly more than the kind of suburban community that the dead end street eventually got pulled through, and they built houses all over the place, and it became a regular suburban place. But I grew up with these people from the Catskill Game Farm with all these animals. And I have some amazing stories. I think grapes and figs. I have figs. I have a fig tree. I have a pomegranate tree planted. Do not plant black walnut tree because it kills other fruit trees. I'm actually looking at red walnut, red the tree man that we buy our trees from said you might want to try red walnut. When all the powers that be start doing the electric grid outages and blame on Iran hacks, not to be negative, when will the powers be start the electric grid? I don't know, but if you're worried about the electric grid, come live with us. I mean, make your own electric grid. You don't have to be dependent on the matrix. So solar panels, a couple $1,000s, man. You could have. I have eight. What do we have? 8 or 9.
I don't know.
We have 8 or 9 panels. I forget which, but we have an inverter that's in the house and a couple batteries, and we have unlimited electric power. Well, I do use propane as well, but I don't know. Q told us not to worry about it. Q said don't worry about it, and it's not that you're negative. It's not being negative. It's a it. They're all different levels of, and we go in and out. Sometimes we get worried. Sometimes I'm worried that the police are going to come arrest me. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't. It's like, but then again, I did not expect my Jeep to get repossessed. That came out of nowhere. Goats are everywhere in the mountains of Greece. Yeah. Yeah, we just saw this magus. Magus?
Magus.
Magus. We saw this magus and they had goats everywhere. Actually, we saw goats. We went to Las Vegas, and there's a little place between Kingman and Las Vegas. There's a place where you can pull over, and there were goats. There were mountain goats on the hills. Get 2 metal, zinc, and copper. You have electricity. Yeah, that's what they're saying. I could simplify. I have to figure out how to do it. When will the powers be started? I don't think you have to worry about electric grid. In my opinion, a goat provides milk, cheese, and meat. Easy care. Yeah, but they're pretty wily, man. They're not so easy to care. They'll well out here. Yeah, well, it's very green this year, so there's a lot for them to eat. My friend Roger had goats, and he has fenced them, but he said they were just too much trouble, and he stopped keeping goats. Trump has an incredible plan. What grids are out? Companies are constructing lots of they're constructing their own power plants. It's amazing. I mean, the white hats and Trump. This is a military operation. So how much of it is would you call it a simulation? I would. And I think that there's also a matrix simulation. And if you don't buy the matrix simulation, you don't comply. That's their biggest fear, because once you're outside of their programming and the Mockingbird press and this repeating things until you believe it's true, they can't control you. Goats climb on your vehicles. Yeah, I've heard the cows can be pretty aggressive. We have wild cows up here. Goats climb on your vehicles. Yeah, Trump does have everything seems to be in control. Check out if the red walnut tree affects other trees. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have enough land here, so I don't. I don't have to plant it near other trees. I could plant it. You know, I could plant it a mile away. I mean, so we have another garden that's literally at least a half a mile away. We're it's an interesting opportunity out here. Getting ready for work, listening. Hope everyone has a great week. Thanks, Sandra. Yeah, I think we are after Trump will be free Cuba, right? Yeah, he's going after Cuba next. I feel like I'm ready for heaven. Yeah, today I was just like kind of like pinching myself. I'm like, am I really still alive, or am I like in heaven already? It's just like, I mean, I don't really think of it that way. It's just like wherever we are is we have to try to make it heaven in our own way. And that can be it can be a difficult experience. I mean, the dreams, I was thinking about my dreams. I don't have pleasant, dreams. I usually have very intensely, fear-based dreams, like, it's kind of like Matrix dreams, like, you didn't do your homework. This kind of, oh, you don't have the paperwork. You didn't fill out the form. You didn't. And it's all that's like a lot of my, like, dreams are those kinds of dreams. I guess I have to work all this fear stuff out of my brain. Yours, well, I'm glad, man. I'm glad you guys feel good about things. That's the main thing. Is I think, I mean, we don't want to be, airy fairy, goody goody, like, wow, everything is okay when it's not. I mean, we want to experience reality the way it should be experienced. And some of, life can be very tricky and very painful, and that's okay. Like, this guy's Zachary Fisher. He's constantly putting out posts that are so interesting. Um, if you're in heaven, that means, well, that's good. I'm glad you guys are in heaven, because I think there's no reason to live in the fear space anymore. I think we're out of the matrix. We can see the matrix. We know what it's about, and it's like, I'm done. So, I want to have a nice life. I want to enjoy myself. I want to have a great child, second childhood or fifth childhood or 18th childhood. It's all good. So I know there's all kinds of news out there, and Sunday tends to be a kind of a chill night. They're all saying the world, the whole economy is going to go to hell tomorrow. I don't. We went through that. I went through that last Sunday. I think it was last Sunday, or maybe 2 Sundays ago. I it Everything is happening just like McGillis Esther. Everything is happening within nature. Nothing, no miracles, no big surprises. Just the white hats are unveiling, pulling apart the curtains they're showing us more and more of what's real and what's not. But the matrix, the lying matrix, is being completely, unveiled. And Jamie Raskin's going to have to, Jamie, you're going to have to really pedal a little faster, because we see right through you, man. You're like old school. It's like Hillary really didn't do that stuff. Really? You know that for sure, Jamie? I mean, these guys are not believable anymore. The matrix is, for all effective purposes, to most of us here, it's a thing of the past. We don't believe it anymore. We've been liberated. Believe is that the I thought your belief, the ocean of waves, no waves without ocean, right? Stock market down over 1,000 points. Yeah, okay. So, but it's been going up like crazy too. I don't know. Sold stocks for silver investments. Yeah, that's always that's a good move. I think the stocks will come back. I don't know. I you can buy gold mines. I don't know if the whole stock market's going to go belly up. JFK Jr., military control, CIC, boss leadership. I don't know. Is Cuba our new territory? Yeah, for sure. Paradigms. Yeah, paradigm. That's a good word, paradigms. Eternal life. They say we are ISBs, which is immortal, spiritual, biological entities. That's what we are, ISBs. Immortal, spiritual, biological entities. They can't, you can't die. Eternal life. Do you believe that we will have the EBS broadcast soon? I don't. So all the humanity can wake up. I don't see it. I've never seen the EBS. I know there are like people that swear it's coming next week. It's like XRP going to the moon. I've been waiting too long for the EBS to really. I don't think that's the character of this transformation. Like I said, I think it's like McGillis Esther. I think everything has to happen in a natural way. I think the EBS would be like, okay, the simulation's over. I think that the white hats and whoever's in charge is invested in us waking up ourselves. I don't think an EBS is in the cards. That's been my belief all along. I wrote a song called the EBS Blues. Gila really liked it, but um, Dr. Seuss, Charlie Brown, yeah, wow. Energy never dies. We are energy, right? I can't wait until we see a reptilian actually shapeshift in front of a large audience. I think they do have pictures of that. Do you believe we will have? Yeah. So I'm not a big EBS person, but yeah, I do want to give a shout out to. I want to do my shameless promotion, but I let me wait. Hold it, not there. Let's go over here. I want to um, encourage people to you could reach out to Daniela if you like. Let me slow this down. You can reach out to Daniela. She also has a new where's your new yeah, she has a new if you want to email her, LifeWave by Daniela, or she really is working very hard on LifeWave. She feels the LifeWave patches. She's very like sensitive in ways that other people are not sensitive, and she feels it. I also feel I can feel the the LifeWave patches are really for your light body, maybe in a sense, but also for your physical body. But we love the patches, so we just I want to thank everyone for. Here, let me give you this one. So a little more. Oh, no, that's her old email. I'm sorry. Norman accuses me of confusing people with all this information, but just if you do decide to try the X39, which I highly recommend, it's just good for your health. It keeps your stem cells stimulates stem cell production. X49 does as well in a different way. A different peptide is activated. These patches put nothing in your body, but they keep you healthy. They're unlike the medicine that the lying medical community is putting out. I mean, I lost my channel for saying that the vaccine was not good for you. I didn't even say that, but they took me out of. I'm a a YouTube I I have a YouTube channel now, thank God, but they refuse to monetize me, and it's probably a good thing because those commercials are very annoying, and I don't need to do that, but I would like to have my 60,000 followers back, and I think it's the least that Facebook could do is give me my followers back. You took them away. That's called theft. I mean, who owns YouTube? It's probably DARPA, the same people who put out the same people who produce chemtrails, the same people who encourage. The world is being exposed. I've been seeing a lot of. Okay, I'm going to just say what time is it getting late?
9:20.
I want to say one thing that's very sensitive, but thank you for enjoying LifeWave. Thank you for contributing and trying it. I think it's a great product. I put on X39, X49, the glutathione patch, and Eon every day. These are the patches we have now. If you share patches with others, it's easier to afford your own patches. So it's advantageous to share with others, to be a brand partner. If you sign up as a brand partner, get a core pack or more, and really try it out. Dr. Stacy recommends, I think, doing a month for every 10 years you are old. Is it a month or 3 months?
A month.
3 months?
A month.
A month. A month for every decade you are old. of trying out the patches, because it's not a quick fix. It is for some people. Some people feel it right away. I do. I just my life is very different, physically different. I don't get up all night to go to the bathroom. I get up once or twice a night. I generally sleep through the night. My sleep is better. I can balance on one leg. I can work all day long in construction. I'm working all day long by myself with Daniela sometimes, but she takes care of the inside stuff. But I'm 71 years old and I'm building a house, and it's and digging gardens and digging trenches and everything else, and I feel great. I have a little bit of back pain, but the Eon really, I put the Eon at the base of my spine, and I don't have so much back issues. So I highly recommend you try, if you haven't yet, the patches. They're just terrific. And it really doesn't, it costs less than a cup of coffee, like what you would spend at Starbucks. It's not, you get 30 patches. There are two like price levels. One, the for the X39, X49. Is it just those two
What?
that are $90?
You mean 100?
100?
Yeah.
It's just X39 and X49 are about $100. All the other patches are about $60 to $70 for a month's supply. So it's, if what you would pay on I don't know, Tylenol, but like a fancy vitamin, and you can eat vitamins and have a negligible, it could, whatever. Anyway, I like network marketing or direct marketing. I think it's better than working through companies and working through the deep state and working through the corporations and working through BlackRock. Who really runs BlackRock? I don't know. The reptiles, I think. I think it's the reptiles. There's, I don't know. I'm hearing all kinds of weird stuff about that, but I don't want to get into that right now. I just want to say that Jamie is a hater. Yeah. Thank you for the platform. Thank you. I'm in love. Good. Second chances, please God. Oh, that's so beautiful. Being in love is the best. That is the best, and it's good for your health. Be in love, man. Fall in love. Even if it doesn't work out in the way you think it's going to work out, who cares? Just to have that experience is so beautiful. I don't believe Trump wants a crash in EBS. Yeah, I just took how much attention the sleepers actually pay to the Epstein files. It's impressive. Yeah, it's really working out the way we were told it's working out. It's just the timing is not, it wasn't the timing we expected. Never smoked cigs, no drugs, no weed, all good and grateful. That's beautiful. On the other hand, I took lots of drugs when I was young, and I drank. I'm an alcoholic, and I don't drink anymore, but I'm an alcoholic. I don't want to drink, but I love reality. I love building a house. I love being with Daniela. I love, even when we're having a disagreement. It's no biggie. We have arguments. Our arguments usually because she wants to do things more healthy than I do. She doesn't want any, like, we're having an argument over what type of, whether we could have insulation in the house. So there's something at Home Depot that they have this cotton denim insulation, and she's like, no way, because it's 80% cotton, and they won't tell us what the other 20% is. So I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe we'll just fill the walls with dirt. Dirt doesn't catch fire, so maybe that's really the best insulation there is just dirt. I don't think it's going to rot out the walls. There's no moisture. I live in the desert, so I'm probably going to end up insulating my walls with dirt. I may moisten the dirt to make it more long term, but I like the idea of sandwiching my the inner and the outer of the house with with dirt. I think that's probably what I'm going to end up because Daniela doesn't want this, even this denim insulation. We have to insulate the house, otherwise we're going to be. It's a desert, so it's cold at night and it's hot during the day. We would need tremendous amounts of heat or and air conditioning. I'm in love. That's so beautiful, Sandra. I hats off to you. Being in love is so good. Cotton works in fabric department. Cotton batten works. You're saying just use batten, cotton batten. So what about the Home Depot stuff? Is that really what makes waves? Ultimate mystery. Vibrations, right? Well, I'm glad you're in love, but never be afraid to love someone, even if it's only for a moment. I That's my philosophy. I've been falling in love since I was 3 years old. I I'm just that way. I came here with the ability to throw myself, and it caused me incredible misery growing up, incredible feelings of loneliness, incredibly isolating. But at the end of the day, I'm glad that I keep with it. And I love being in love with Daniela. It's just amazing. Every time I see her, I'm just like, God, you're so beautiful. And she's so like kind and loving, unbelievably loving. You can use hemp or cellulose to, yeah, hemp. Yeah, I know I can use hemp, but then you have to mix it with lye and everything else, and it's something another thing to buy. Making quilts, yes, like I'm making cotton batten works in fabric department. Yeah, love is fantastic. Hemp too. Yeah, maybe we'll do. But I really kind of like. I just don't know what's wrong with using dirt. I mean, we got lots of dirt out here. Dirt. Everything is really rocky dirt. It's not like it's gonna be moist. There's no moisture here. People say it's gonna rot out. I'm like, you need water to make rot. The cars here, we have cars from the 60s they look brand new because it's not like New York where there's salt on the roads. There's no salt in Kingman. We went to Flagstaff and they salted the roads. We were there during a snowstorm. I had to get my car washed because there was salt on my car. But my car is what 20 almost like 20 years old and it looks fine. Hemp too, yeah. Cellulose to insulate your house. Yeah, I heard there's cellulose. We'll figure it out. But love is fantastic. Yeah. And wherever however you can find it, I think it's I what can I say? I don't it's all Grok says you can use cork to insulate your house. Cork, that's interesting. Cork, mud is fine, but it's not just dirt. Well, mud, yeah, I mean, but what's the difference between mud and dirt? It's just moisture. I could put dirt in my walls and then put some water on top of it. I could add clamshells and a little hay, probably a little bit of hay would be good to mix in with it. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I think that's where we're heading. My guy friend and no one else. Yeah, that's beautiful, Sandra. With a very special guy. That's so beautiful, man. Never too late. My mother had a boyfriend when she was in her late 80s. He was in his early 90s. Stuart, sweetest man. They had such a nice time together. Dirt is more a conductor than an insulator, isn't it? I don't think so. I mean, what's adobe made of? It's just mud, dirt. You mean you're saying that like if you had a rock house, but a rock house is insulating, praying for blessings and miracles. Well, thanks, Sandra. Yeah, I just, maybe this is more. It's going to be more of a interactive channel. Sometimes I'm like this. I just, I mean, the news to me is just, eh, it's amazing. I mean, but it's all happening and it's great. But okay, but we have lives. We have real lives. We get up in the morning. We have feelings. We have friendships. We have dreams. You could be, I'm 71 and I'm still dreaming like I was 14 years old. But my dreams, the dream of becoming fabulously wealthy and, like I'm seeing that. And I know it's always disturbed me, even when I was a child, this idea just, work, the idea of just making money to make money is repulsive to me. But there's a new thought stream that I'm seeing out there, and I'm going to get more into this in the future. But they're trying to say that, and they're saying it's a Jewish thing. They're saying trying to say that we should be like Jewish people and invest, and like think wisely, think of better ways to make money and all that. I'm like, fuck that. I want to live a nice life. I want to build my own house. I don't need millions of dollars and have a big crew to be happy. I'm very happy building my own house. For me, the idea of, figuring out a way to make lots of money so I can live the way I want to, that's just like, I don't want that. I figured out a way to buy a big piece of property and I'm enjoying it. I don't, there's something about that that it just makes me, it makes my, ugh, it makes me feel sick. Um, Hempcrete is the best hemp herd and lime. Yeah, I've heard that, but then I'm dealing with Lyme. I don't know. I just don't know. Looking forward to a beautiful future. I think, yeah, that's the key to all this. There's no reason to be miserable right now. There's no reason to get, overstimulated in either negative or positive about the simulation, about the movie out there. It's happening. It is freeing us from, because now we see what the matrix is, and we don't have to do it. We don't have to comply. So anyway, everybody should have a wonderful life and a wonderful night and look forward to a beautiful week wherever you're holding. It should be full of mystery and love and surprises. There was a great thing by Zachary Fisher, who was just saying, like, you can't really time these things, but you can move in the right direction. But to worry about whether or not I'm going to manifest, all the silver, like I was for a while, I was trying to manifest silver, and I just thought, why am I doing this? It's like, silver will come if silver's meant to come. But in the meantime, I want to manifest a red walnut tree. I mean, I can't eat silver. I mean, you could buy food if you change it in for cash. Time is natural mineral mind. Lime is natural mineral mind. You're right. I just don't know how Daniela will react to it. I don't know. I Because she has, I don't want any kind of, that's why I'm living this way, because we left New York because of her eczema, and I don't know how she reacts to lime. I have a bag of lime here. It's not that I don't use lime ever. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Anyway, all these are discoveries. What I am sure of is that the radishes are happy. The blueberries are really happy that I watered them this morning. I'm so glad that I have a water, and a well right near my garden. And we have a garden, like it's probably more than half a mile away on my property or on our property, that we have to water our fig tree and our pomegranate tree and decide what to do with the garden space. Probably put some tomatoes. We'll probably continue to water it. I also have an Arizona ash down there. but that's where we camped before. I mean, eventually I'll probably build a house down there and gardens because it's good. The ground is very good for gardening. But yeah, it's an adventure, man. Life's an adventure. I'll show you pictures of the second floor when we get a little more. We still are not able. We have not been able to buy enough plywood, as much plywood as we need, or raw lumber, but we will. I'm sure in time we'll have all that. We're working on other things too. Yeah, thanks, Sandra. It takes one to know one. JFK Jr. is here. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy for that. But it's it's not funny facial gestures. Yeah, yeah. It was fun. Well, being a teacher for 20 years, man, I got get into your you did your homework. You know. Anyway, so yeah, so it's fun. So life is fun. We will see you guys tomorrow. Let's do the Matrix tune, man. We'll buzz out on this and let's see. Oh, I have to do it the other way. Okay. But yeah, thank you for your participation with the LifeWave patch. We totally believe in it. Let's see. Okay, here we go.
Living in the city, I was paying down my bills. One flat tire and the whole thing went to hell. Credit cards for groceries, I'm deep in debt again. It's time to split this scene, walk with you, my friend. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, we're heading for the promised land. Stopped paying taxes, your insurance I don't need. The medicines are killing us, hospitals grow like weeds. Moved into paradise, I don't need no gassy cars. Fake news, endless wars, a satanic legal bar. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. My friends all tell me I lost control. Left my wife and job just to run down rabbit holes. But I can tell you one thing about my fall. Where we go one, we go all. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing promised land. Leaving the matrix. We're heading for the promised land.
I think that's the essence. We're leaving the matrix. We know the matrix. We see there. The simulation could be for the normies. The normies still live in the simulation, but they're starting to break out with this whole Epstein thing and eating children. And Trump came out and said that the Iranians are killing babies, and this is sick. This is deep state. This is all. Anyway, it's all happening. We're coming into the Middle East is going to be peaceful, and then we're going to be living in America. We're going to be living in the promised land. This is, I mean, there are people say, well, this is the promised land. That's not the promise. I mean, the promised land is a state of mind. It's not a place. And we're all here, and everyone has what to give. Everybody has what to love. Everybody is lovable. So may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force. You are totally 100% in charge of your creation. May source be with you. May you enjoy the creation that you pursue, with the feelings that you pursue it with. If you're an angel like Nancy, man, you got it. You got it set, baby. You just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring all of us to. Yeah, that's something I didn't put on to join the matrix. Remember, I mean, join the Republic. Join the Republic. Republicforusa.org. Just join the Republic. That's what I'm. We're having meetings every week for Mojave County in Arizona. I have an office. I'm an officer in the thing, because there are only 4 of us and we have 4 offices. So I have to do something. Danielle is an office. We're all involved. We're reinventing the world. This is our creation. So let's get out there. Thanks for coming tonight. Let's get out there with a big smile on our face. This is joy, man. We're in heaven. Heaven is a creation that we can control. We are masters of our own heavonics. I mean, let's do it, man. So let's get out there with a big smile on our